let's move to hockey. And Sam Spooner is in the studio. And Sam, let's begin with the Rossborough Men's Hockey Premier League. And Vikings A stayed top following a 7-2 victory over Saracens A.
Yeah, and the first half was really, really tight, and it kind of shows the growth that Saracens A have had as well. They've had some tough games early on in this season, and being so young and so inexperienced at this level, you can see them starting to build in confidence and open up a little bit. And in the first half against Vikings A, they did that. They went in with their level, 1-1, but maybe that fitness in the second half that Vikings have generally worked hard on over the past sort of 12 months just got the better of them, and Vikings A managed to up it a gear and come away with a 7-2 win. Macklin Wilson, the hero of the day, with 3 goals. Tim Henderson with 2. Steve Crow and Jake Fair with 1 each. That's Jake Fair's first goal for Vikings as well, by the way. And Saracens A, Andrew Winstanley, the most experienced player in that side, and the young Alex Lace.
My apologies to Dave. We will be with him after the hockey. I had the wrong Lucy up on the desk, so wrong form of communication. But we've got it sorted now. He is there, and we will be with him very shortly. The other result in the Premier League, the champions, Backers A 4, Ramsey A 2. Good battle there.
Yeah, no, I said this one would be a tight game, maybe a bit of a banana skin for Backers A, although they should win. And they'll be happy that they come away with both points and an extra 2 goals and a goal difference as well, which, with their game in hand, which they catch next week, with Vikings A being off, they have a very good chance of going top next week. Half-time was 3-1 to Backers A. Andy Whiting, Johnny Callow, Tony Bentley-Roberts and the young Elliot Reid on the score sheet for Backers A. Ramsey A, Chris Wells, who has turned himself into a bit of a goalkeeper over the past couple of seasons, had an outfield game today and scored a penalty flick, and Jan Kane scoring with a deflected short corner.
Excellent. Let's move to the Rossborough Women's Hockey Premier League, and no doubt Vikings A were in the mood to assert their dominance, still yet to concede a goal, but they banged some in this afternoon. 11-0 they won against Saracens.
Yeah, and I think before, up until last week, you thought maybe they're missing a few goals this season, and they've just proven me completely wrong now. Last week, it was a really tight game against Valkyries A. Neither side really looked like they wanted to score. They were a bit nervous. This week, Vikings A have gone straight out there with the aim of putting a ton of goals on their goal difference. Kim Carney with a huge 6 goals, Danny Coombs with 2, Sophie Hall with 2, and Sarah Blackman on the score sheet for Vikings A.
And it was the champions Valkyries A, a tight win over Castletown A, 1-0.
It could have been worse for Valkyries A. Castletown had a good performance today. They did miss a flick, which would have put it level. But Valkyries A, they're hanging on. They're keeping Vikings A honest at the top there, and are looking forward to that rematch in the second half of the season. Imogen Manning on the score sheet for Valkyries A today, but Castletown A, they lost, but they're certainly not down.
Ramsey A, the other side, heading towards the top end of the table after a 2-1 victory over Backers A, who are struggling a little.
Yeah, I mean, Backers A have lost a number of players to pregnancy, to university, or going on holiday as well. I think at the start of the season they had 5 new players in their first team squad, so it takes a while to build that cohesion. Ramsey A, though, Ellie Burton and Joe Quine on the score sheet for them, which moves them into 3rd place, and Backers A, Helen Neal on the score sheet.
Let's move to the Men's Hockey Division 1, the big game of the day, and you called it right. These were 2 sides going into this match, played 3-1-3. You felt Backers had scored more and therefore would win this contest, and you called it correctly. 4-2 it ended up, Backers B beating Vikings B.
Yeah, it was 2-0 half-time, so Vikings B did well to come back in the second half, and from the stories I've been hearing, if there's an extra 10 minutes in the game, they could have come back and levelled the scores. Ash Dougal and Ash Osborne on the score sheet for Vikings B. Backers B fly to the top of the league, and they take the initiative in the league, and they are desperately wanting to get promoted into that Premier League, and they are looking good for it as well. Andy Neal and Toby Hudson on the score sheet, and a couple of Backers old boys in the shape of Sean Caller and Will Wood on the score sheet as well.
Castletown A, something to smile about for that team at long last. They won 4-2 this afternoon, their first points of the season against Vikings C.
Yeah, and I've heard this was a very, very feisty fixture, very physical, and there's some questionable tackles flying in. I've heard that cards maybe should have been brandished and warnings given, but Castanet, they needed this one, and they've gone out and they've got it. They did what Valkyries B couldn't do last week. So that puts them clear of the relegation zone now and puts Valkyries B in the relegation zone. Paul Kelly with 2. He's back on the score sheet again and driving that Castanet team forward. The evergreen Mark Corlett and Christian Stereopoulos completing the goal scoring for Castanet. Viking C, Danny Kane, he just can't keep himself off the score sheet this year, and Lee Cowell.
And it was Harlequins A 7, Valkyries B 3.
Yeah, and real danger for Valkyries B now. That puts them in the relegation zone, massively down on goal difference now, and 2 points adrift. And it shocks me when you see the standard of players they've got. Robin Masson dropped down into the B team this weekend. He got himself on the score sheet with Lucas Croydon and Chris Thomas. I don't have the goal scores for Harlequins A yet, but Valkyries B, they need to do something quickly if they want to escape relegation.
Women's Hockey Division 1, Backers B 0, Valkyries B 1.
Yeah, big result for Valkyries B. They wanted to stay top of the league, and they did it. Only the 1 goal. They've been fairly free scoring so far this season, so it just shows how far Backers B have come. And big shout out to Sandra Moore for doing a double shift and umpiring up in Ramsey. Apparently very, very cold up there today.
Yeah, it would have been. And a rarity this, a 0-0. Harlequins A, Castletown B. They don't come along very often in hockey.
No, and perhaps less than once a season. And Castletown B, they'd be well happy with a point here today. They just wanted to put a score on the scoreboard and start moving their way up the league if they can. Harlequins A will be a bit disappointed given that they could have gone top had they won.
Let's move to Men's Division 2. Backers Colts 2, Castletown B 1.
Yeah, close game, and Gareth Nicholson proving a bit of a hero for Backers Colts today. Luca Pilato and Jack Grimley, 2 young players in that Backers Colts side. Jack Grimley, I believe, scored a last-minute winner for Backers as well. And Castown B, Steve Smith.
Still haven't got Harlequins B, Valkyries C. I've
got the score line. So it's Harlequins B, Backers C, it was. And Harlequins 2, Backers C 3. Ian Wrigley 2 and Dave Cowley for Backers C. I haven't got the Harlequins B goal scorers yet.
Okay. And it was Saracens 2, Ramsey B 1.
Probably the shock of the day. Ramsey B have been mighty this season, and I expected them to fly out of the blocks here today, but it looks like they only had 10 players available today. They ran their A team taking an extra couple of players up into the first team. But Liam Farrer and Oscar Lace on the score sheet for Saracens B. I remember that name, Oscar Lace. He's going to be a mighty, mighty player as he moves through the team sheets. Ben Curtis on target for Ramsey B.
And the Women's Hockey Division 2, Ramsey B 1, Backers C 7.
Yeah, and Backers C. And Iona Bridges, Martha Broderick, both 14 years old. 3 goals between them. Grace Gorn, I'm not sure how old she is, but she's certainly a young player. I don't recognise the name anyway. So you've got 4 of their goals scored by young players. Carly Craig, the more experienced of the bunch, getting a hat-trick today for Backers C. Madison McMullen on the score sheet for Ramsey B.
And our final game, Valkyries C 0, Vikings C 7.
I did not expect this. Valkyries C have been good this season. Pretty good in front of goal, fairly good defensively. But Vikings C, their defence is mighty and their strike force is just as scary. Becca Kelly with her first 2 goals for the Vikings senior teams. I'm sure Mum Danny will be pleased. Tamsin Naylor with 3, another young player with a hat-trick there. Jan Carney and Kaylee Cool completing the 7-0 win.
Okay, Sam, many thanks
Thank you very
indeed
much.
for